Well, I think Crawford wins. I think Crawford beats a lot of people right now.
It's Terence Crawford's debut at a new weight class on Saturday night. And while some boxing professionals believe in his invincibility, others think he's taking a dangerous step and have picked Madrimov for an unlikely win as a result.
I think Crawford's gonna do a number on him. He's stylistically he's more diverse.
It's a really good fight. Two great fighters. I think it's gonna be a really good fight.
The hype around Madrimov has surprised many fans of the sport who had thought such a rising star was no match to the Nebraska champion, who's not only undisputed at 2 weight classes, but is also undefeated with 40 wins and no losses.
12 rounds scheduled. It will be for both the WBO interim.
However, it's all for the good of Terence Crawford in some way, as there's every tendency to get complacent in such instances, as we've seen in many cases.
And WBA Super Welterweight Championships of the World.
Bud Crawford has not only sought the counsel of some of the greatest fighters ever, but he has also engaged some of them in sparring like Andre Ward, to even aid his preparedness on fight night.
And it is a final eliminator for the WBC World.
With this, Madrimov should be prepared to face a daring beast on Saturday. Most importantly, Terence Crawford is looking to inscribe his name into the history books of boxing and cement his legacy forever by becoming one of the few fighters to be world champions at 4 weight classes.
Just wants to fight anyone and everyone. He lives in the gym, that young man. A phenomenal professional.
Tony Bellew is a huge admirer of World Boxing Association light middleweight champion Israil Madrimov, but still thinks the Uzbek fighter will fall short against Terence Crawford. The Nebraska man will jump up to 154 pounds on August 3rd, live on DAZN, and victory will see him become world champion in a 4th weight division.
A role model professional.
Since defeating Errol Spence last summer, Crawford's name has been linked to numerous fights, including a showdown with Canelo Alvarez. First up for Crawford is Madrimov, and Bellew is expecting him to carry on his impressive form. I'd find it hard to back up Madrimov against most opponents, but Crawford is something special, said Bellew when speaking exclusively to DAZN.
As I say, lives in the gym, and I really like both guys.
You're looking at one of the best fighters of his generation, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down. Madrimov is an excellent fighter with many great qualities, and you've heard Eddie Hearn talk about how good he is. He might have some good moments in the fight, but Crawford is on another level to most fighters, and I think he'll win again.
It's a really good fight. Two great fighters. I think it's gonna be a really good fight.
Talking about his favorite for the match, Canelo Alvarez said, "It's a really good fight, 2 great fighters, but I think Crawford..." Next, the Mexican Saul Alvarez was asked why he picked Terence Crawford over Israil Madrimov, and he responded, "He's got a lot of skills and power."
Skills. Power. I think it really...
Andy Ruiz, from his comments, doesn't seem like one who's just fighting on the undercard of Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov, but one who shares a good relationship with the Crawford family.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one, man, and I like both of them, but
I kind of feel Crawford has that kind of style where it is difficult. I think he can box around, he can move around, he can be lefty as well if he wants to, and especially, I love his family, man. His mom and dad are such good people. I'm rooting for Crawford. And Ruiz faces Jarrell Miller on the same night Crawford locks horns against Israil Madrimov.
I don't know. I kind of feel Crawford has that style where it's difficult, you know?
The pairing pits one heavyweight who turned the fallout of another into his own career-defining moment. Andy Ruiz, who has 35 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws in 39 fights, including 22 knockout wins, was a late replacement for Miller in a colossal upset of then unbeaten Anthony Joshua.
I think he could box around, he could move around, he could be lefty as well if he wants to.
Their June 2019 battle saw Ruiz recover from a knockdown to score 4 of his own in a 7th round stoppage. The feat saw him become the first Mexican boxer to win a piece of the heavyweight crown. Ruiz lost the titles to Joshua just 6 months later as he showed up grossly out of shape for their December 2019 rematch.
And especially, I love his family, man. His mom and his dad, they're such good people, and I'm rooting for Crawford.
Just 2 wins have followed for Ruiz, who has not fought since a September 2022 victory over Luis Ortiz. Miller has 26 wins, a draw and a loss in 28 fights, including 22 knockout wins, was due to face Joshua on that June 2019 show at New York City's Madison Square Garden, the Brooklyn native tested positive for multiple banned substances and was pulled from the show. A repeat offense more than a year later resulted in an 18-month suspension. He returned in 2022 and won 3 bouts before he suffered his first defeat. It came in a 10th round stoppage to Daniel Dubois last December 23rd in Riyadh.
I think Crawford's gonna do a number on him. He's stylistically he's more diverse.
The founder of Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya, ahead of the fight, had made his picks and predictions, inclining towards a win for Crawford. I think Crawford's going to do a number on him. Stylistically, he's more diverse. He has better technique. He moves around more.
Crawford he knows how to change it up, switch it up. He has A, B, C, and D game plans.
He also added, reminding the boxing world of how sophisticated Terence Crawford's skill set is. Crawford is a good fighter. He knows how to change it up, switch it up. He has A, B, C, and D game plans.
Stylistically, he's more diverse. He has better technique. He moves around more, you know. And
top featherweight prospect Virgil Ortiz believes Terence Crawford will beat WBA world champion Israil Madrimov in his division. In fact, Virgil Ortiz Jr. predicted an early knockout win for Terence Crawford in his title challenge against World Boxing Association junior middleweight champion Israil Madrimov on August 3rd.
It was just this interview that he did, just kind of made it seem like he tried to downplay the sparring.
Here's the thing. I'm not criticizing Madrimov. I think he's a good and smart fighter. It's just that Crawford is a different beast. I don't think anybody but me can beat him at featherweight. He's a top fighter, probably #1 in the pound-for-pound rankings. There's Crawford, Usyk, Inoue. Picking a #1 between them is like flipping a coin. Let's say Crawford is #1 right now.
Tried to downplay the sparring. I mean, downplay me in the sparring, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, just say the truth. Or if you're not going to say it, then don't talk about it.
He then continued, I don't think Madrimov will beat him. That doesn't mean I don't think Madrimov is a good fighter. I just don't think he's capable of beating Crawford, Ortiz said in an interview with YouTube channel Fight Hub TV.
I did pretty good.
How long ago was that sparring?
It was when I was getting ready for the Mean Machine fight.
No one knows what Crawford will bring to this fight against Madrimov because he's been out of the ring, celebrating his victory over Errol Spence for the last 12 months, and he's moving up to a weight class he's never competed at. Moreover, Crawford is hitting 37, and his resume is one of the weakest of a multi-division world champion, rivaling Adrian Bronner in that department.
So like the summer of 2021, I believe.
Like Bronner, Crawford has been inactive for many years, rarely fighting. And when he does, it's against guys like David Avanesian and spent fighters Sean Porter and Errol Spence. Easy work, he messed him up. He was probably around 180, said trainer Robert Garcia to Ease News, talking about Israil Madrimov during his sparring with Virgil Ortiz Jr. That's the real reason why I say Crawford is going to get him. I've been in the ring with him. Crawford is going to get him in less than 7. Said Virgil Ortiz, predicting an early knockout for Terence Crawford over Madrimov. There seems to be bad blood between Ortiz and the unbeaten Madrimov about comments he made in a recent interview.
Well, I think Crawford wins. I think Crawford beats a lot of people right now.
What makes Crawford so special for you?
According to Virgil, Madrimov said he was just playing with him during their sparring session. Virgil Jr. doesn't believe him. He insists that he dominated their session. His trainer, Robert Garcia, backs him up, saying he won the sparring as if there was such a thing as winning. It sounds a little petty of Virgil Jr. to get worked up over sparring, but he needs to do something to get fans interested in his next fight against World Boxing Council interim junior middleweight champion Serhij Bohachuk. The public has ignored the fight due to the lackluster promotion.
I thought Virgil got the best of it.
Not according to Madrimov.
Yeah, but
even with the greatest promotion, the fans wouldn't be excited. Virgil Jr. has been too inactive in recent years due to his repeated health promotions. He hasn't fought the quality opposition yet to put himself in a place where fans would take notice of his fights.
Is he a good fighter? I know you sparred him, but is he a good fighter by your standards? Like, would you say he's a good fighter?
He is.
So, talking about sparring, Israil Madrimov might be Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s best strategy to get some publicity. Even if it's cheap, hopefully this doesn't become Virgil's career strategy by bragging about sparring stories, hoping to become a training camp star. That's a fight that can happen too, said Robert Garcia, reacting to Eli Setchback saying that Virgil Ortiz can knock out Crawford. Virgil becomes the interim champion, and Crawford is the World Boxing Association champion. That's the next fight that could happen too. So we go that direction too, said Robert, wanting Virgil to fight WBC junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora.
Kid that poses stuff like that, something's wrong with him. Yeah. So, I get, after a while, you got to go for a while, but after a while, you got to say something. My son said something, it's just the way it is, but I think my son is just too...
Terence Crawford's trainer Brian McIntyre takes some time to chat with Fight Hub about how his fighter is acclimating to his new weight class as he prepares to take on Israil Madrimov at 154 pounds. Check out some excerpts of what he had to say below. McIntyre, talking on how Crawford's camp for Madrimov has been going, he said,
at 54, he brings a lot to the table as far as power, speed.
Camp is going good. He's working hard like he always does. I'm just kind of being patient for the date to come so we can see a stronger and hard hitter like Terence do his thing. Also, he was asked about the challenges they've faced for Crawford to grow into this weight class. It's really no challenge because Terence was growing out of 147, so his body is developing more now and he's developing more power, so it's not holding him back no more. He has to stay a certain weight, just let him go and do his thing. And he's got some great strength trainers. Things are going well for this new weight. On what Madrimov brings to the table in this fight, he answered,
I know he only got 10 fights, but he got shitload of amateur fights. He's dangerous. He's fucking dangerous. They call him the...
Seeing Madrimov, just watching his fights and just watching him as a person, I believe he's going to bring a good, better performance out of Terence because the kid looks like he's determined. I know he only got 10 fights, but he got a shitload of amateurs and he's been fighting some great guys at the professional level, and he's the champion. So he brings a lot to the table for Terence to work with, and I'm excited to see it.
The Triple G of a 54. So, we got a lot stacked against us.
I look at him like a mean machine Egidijus Kavaliauskas. Mean Machine was rough, man, and dude was tough as stuff. He had a good chin on him, but once Bud turned it up, he went in there and got the job done. So I look at Madrimov like that determined style, big good chin, just ready to fight you blow for blow, and I think that's what Madrimov is going to bring to the table. He was then asked for any indications they've received from Turki Alalshik about a potential fight against Canelo. In response, he said, well, I think it's just one fight at a time right now. So the fight that's in front of Bud, that's what he's concentrating on. Bud ain't never looked past an opponent. He never takes an opponent lightly. So right now, he's just focused on Madrimov because this dude is dangerous. He's real dangerous. So that's where his focus is.
What does he say about Terence as a person, though? Stepping straight into a fight of this magnitude at 154, moving straight into a fight like this, moving up in weight.
It says a lot about his character.
As far as Alashik, I never talked to him. I think I only saw him one time, so I can't tell you what his thought process is. Also, Brian McIntyre was asked about his thoughts towards Crawford matchup against Canelo. I just look at Canelo like he can be beat. He has been beat before, so Bud got the tools to beat him. That's how I look at it. As far as breaking him down, once that fight comes on the radar or on the table, then I'll start studying a little bit more on his style and how to break him down. But right now, my mind is focused on this dangerous Madrimov. Can't slip up on that guy.
As a fighter, you know what I'm saying? So, he wanted, like you say, he wanted to be considered as one of the best in and out of the ring, as a businessman and as a fighter. So,
during another interview with The Stomping Ground, Crawford's trainer Brian Bomac McIntyre shared his vision for how he sees the fight against Madrimov panning out. Looking at Madrimov and his previous fight and just knowing Terence, it's going to be a pull and tug first couple of rounds, and then Terence is going to start walking away with the fight, McIntyre asserted confidently. Having already conquered junior welterweight and welterweight with undisputed reigns in each division, Crawford should adjust quite well to 154 pounds according to McIntyre. It all depends if you use the weight properly, and Terence is not a small guy, McIntyre offered. He fits very well at 154. His body is adapting to the weight, so the power is there, the IQ is there, the rhythm is there, everything is there that he needs at that weight class.
You must take challenges like this to prove to the world and to yourself that you are the best. You are the best.
So it's going to be intriguing to see what Madrimov can do with the extra weight that he'll supposedly have on Terence, but me, personally, I don't think he'll be able to do nothing. McIntyre's confidence stems from a training camp in which Crawford prepared for the best Madrimov possible. Madrimov is different, he's strong, he's determined, he's the champion. he added. So you gotta train a little differently. You gotta work on things a little different to prepare for a guy like that. A win and Crawford will capture his 4th division title.
As well, like where he's had to track them. And I don't know, like Madrimov comes in, he's a bit wild. I don't know if he's going to be the guy to win.
Porter and Crawford, of course, have history, as the 2 American welterweights came to blows back in 2021. Crawford won that fight by stoppage, his 9th in a row at that time, and was the first man to halt Porter inside the distance, having also put him down twice in the 10th round. Crawford retained his belt that night and then went on to his epic showdown with longtime rival Errol Spence Jr. back in July of last year. He was in fine form and eventually stopped Spence in the middle rounds, which saw him become the undisputed 4-belt king of the division, a feat which he has also piously achieved down at lightweight. Now, speaking at the launch press conference, Porter was asked for his views on how the fight with Madrimov might go while standing right next to Crawford himself.
I never got in a room with Terence, but I feel like his power is underrated for the most part.
Oh yeah, the power is underrated. I think,
My first time looking at it was just this morning. I watched some Madrimov. I think, Terence, it always takes you a couple of rounds to see what these guys bring to you. I expect to see Madrimov in your face. I expect the stick to come out from Crawford. I expect him to start the fight orthodox. I think this is going to be a fun fight. You're going to have your hands full, but I think you will handle it. You always handle it. Some people are born to do what they do, and this kid is born to do what he does. Crawford, rated at number 3 pound for pound by The Ring, started his pro career away from the bright lights, but soon enough the Nebraska native's big break came when he stepped in on 3 days' notice to whitewash former Amir Khan conqueror Brytus Prescott.
Did you train for this fight?
I train hard for every fight, not just one fight.
And what do we expect on Saturday?
Fireworks, like always.
All right. What do you want to say for your fans in the Middle East?
Well, for my fans in the Middle East, thank you for supporting me.
The super talented American switch hitter went from strength to strength, winning titles at 135, 140, and 147. Bud has separated himself from the competition by becoming an undisputed champion at 140 and 147. The 36-year-old has made 7 defenses of his WBO welterweight title, notably beating Khan, Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and David Avanesian. However, he saved his best for his biggest night when he dominated longtime rival Errol Spence Jr. to become the first male 2-weight undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. Madrimov, rated at number 3 by The Ring at junior middleweight, won a slew of amateur titles before turning professional in the fall of 2018.
The first Terence, the first fight of the 154, Israil Madrimov. For many, he's the best in the division. What makes you different? What makes you believe you can go in there 154 and become the best in the division immediately?
The 29-year-old has moved quickly due to his amateur pedigree. The dream has been a nightmare for his opponents and has beaten seasoned veterans like Norberto Gonzalez, Alejandro Barrera, and Eric Walker. He also holds a win over perennial contender Mikkel Soro, as well as a technical draw in 3 in their rematch. He easily beat unheralded Rafael Igbokwe before scoring an eye-catching win over Magomed Kurbanov to annex the vacant WBA title in March. Madrimov was a talented amateur who had something of a slow-burn professional career until last time out when he broke out with an eye-catching stoppage over Kurbanov. However, this is another level.
I'm going to see a little bit of that going into the fight, but I'm pretty sure that he'll be all right.
What's the face-off?
How will he find to step up against by far the best opponent he has faced so far? Meanwhile, Crawford is now 36 and has not fought in a year. He's well rested, but will the inactivity and age start to catch up with him? How will Madrimov deal with Crawford's switch-hitting style? Crawford is a great fighter, arguably the best boxer on earth. That is reflected in his being a -700 fight for his first fight at junior middleweight against a reigning champion. Don't get it twisted though, there is plenty of danger in this fight for Crawford. Bud was big for welterweight and making the cut was only getting harder as he got older. It will likely be much more comfortable for Crawford to make 154 pounds.
When you guys, there was back and forth, how do you motivate yourself for a fight like this?
I'm motivated because he got something that I want.
Crawford also isn't going to be a much smaller man in the fight with Madrimov, with the fighters being roughly the same height, but Crawford having the reach advantage. Still, Madrimov is the younger man at 29, while Crawford will turn 37 in September. Also, Crawford is not a particularly active fighter. This will be Crawford's first fight in more than a year. The potential for age, ring rust, and a new weight class could add up to being something of a tricky fight for Crawford. especially against a talented fighter like Madrimov, who has many of the same skills as Crawford, if not quite at Crawford's level.
What was it about his performance?
Crawford should be expected to win, but this is a risky fight. If Crawford has an off night, or if age and ring rust catch up to him a bit, Madrimov is a talented enough fighter to take advantage, and that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.